Good morning.
Good morning.
The bell tolls for 2026. Let's hope it's better than 2025. Welcome all to our first meeting of 2026. Do we have any visitors? We have two ladies who are going to present to us, Catherine and Maureen from Warringal, but are there any other visitors that we've got?
He's an old visitor.
Are there any birthdays or anniversaries that we need to know about? Yes,
86.
Olivia.
86 last week.
Oh, well done. 86.
Getting younger.
Okay. Any more?
Yes, David Jones on the R2.
Oh, yes. 19th of January, 85. So you're a year in front of me, Olivia. I'll catch you up, mate. I'll catch you. So, any other birthdays or anniversaries?
Anniversary this year?
No. Okay. Our esteemed Vice President is an apology. He's on grandchild duties, looking after his grandchild because his daughter hurt her back, so he's an apology. So I will run through the roll in his absence. Peter Bedford.
Yeah.
Bertie the Berryman. Not here, it's unusual, Bert's not here. Bruce Bazant is here. Ted Briere. Michael Doherty. John Doherty is an apology. Len Edwards. No, Len's not well, apology. Robbie the Urbacker.
Not all here.
Oh, never. Alan Evans.
Yep.
Brian Fitt. Anyone seen Brian?
Apology.
Thanks, Kev. Frank Henning.
Yep.
Frank, great to see you. Detlef Hinkst. Reg Jackson. No, Reg. I'm here. My wife's here. Joe Landsberg.
Yes. Yep.
Di Landsberg.
Yes.
Well done. Peter McCartney.
Yeah.
John Metcalf. Anyone seen John?
Yeah, seen him yesterday, but he's not here.
Not here. All right. Gary Papworth.
Yep. Yep.
Graham Ratton.
Yep.
Bev Ratton.
Yes.
Laurie Rose.
That's an apology. Broke his arm.
Oh, gee, that's no good. Broke his arm. Can't have that happening. Kevin the Lion Ryan.
Yep.
Will Semler.
Absolutely.
Will, great to see you. Les Sterling.
Present.
Keith Tupper.
Present.
Livio Kudasek.
Yeah.
Is there anyone here whose name I have not called? No, we've got it. All right, well, the way we're proceeding this morning is Michael Coffey is going to be inducted. We're thrilled to have Michael join our club, and he very kindly offered as well to do a members' corner, which is very much appreciated. So we're going to hear from Michael with a members' corner. Then Kevin and Bev have got some songs for us, very appropriate for the time of the year. And then we're going to hear from Catherine and Maureen, who are stalwarts of Warringal Probus. And they're going to tell us about Warringal and, might I say, how much we enjoyed their hospitality at Christmas time. A wonderful morning, and we thank Catherine, you and Maureen very much for the hospitality that your club showed to us. We really appreciate it. So they're going to tell us about Warringal and perhaps tell us a bit about their own personal journey to the extent they want to. And that'll be it. I just want to alert you that we've got an annual general meeting coming up in March, which is an important meeting for the club. And Bruce will be sending out with the newsletter at the end of January some documents that relate to that annual general meeting, which will be the minutes of the last annual general meeting, which have already been done, a report on the year, and a special resolution to adopt a new constitution. This is the constitution that Probus headquarters worked on for quite a while to update the current constitution. It doesn't make many changes. So we need to consider that and, if appropriate, adopt it as our constitution. So that's something that will be attended to at the annual general meeting, where, of course, also we will have to elect a committee of management. So nominations will be called for in relation to the committee of management for the forthcoming year. So have a good look at those documents when they come out with the monthly bulletin from Bruce, and can I again thank Bruce for his efforts with our monthly bulletin, which is quite exceptional, and we really appreciate, Bruce, the efforts that you put into that, and also, of course, for setting up the meeting today in respect of audio and visual and the website. All right, Michael, would you like to come forward?
Absolutely would.
Michael, I believe, is a dweller at Springthorpe.
I am, yes.
So we won't hold that against him, but we of course have quite a number of our members who are dwellers at Springthorpe, and we're very pleased to have so many and to be able to avail ourselves of the Springthorpe facilities from time to time for things such as the barbecue. So, Michael, it's my pleasure to formally welcome you and admit you to the fellowship of the Probus Club of Heidelberg. As from now, you have full rights of membership of our club. Probus is constituted as a low-key organisation, and we like to keep it that way. Its basic purpose is to provide a pleasant and interesting meeting place where acquaintances can be broadened and good fellowship enjoyed by compatible people. We want membership to continue to be attractive to people like yourself, and we're very pleased that you're prepared to come forward and join. Not much is demanded of members. There are no strict rules in respect of attendance, but by attending you enjoy the friendship and fellowship of the fellow members. Occasionally you may be asked to carry out some task in the running of the club, and we hope if that happens that you'll be happy to respond. So I offer on behalf of all members the right hand of Probus Fellowship. May I ask all members present to show you the warmth of your welcome to Michael. Now, Michael, as I've indicated, very kindly agreed to do a members' corner for us. So just give us a moment whilst we get him mic'd up, and then he'll proceed with that. So yeah, we'll just We need to have wills too, Bruce. Yeah, I'll just get these as well. Is that wills, I think, isn't it?
We all can hear you.
Okay.
These wills got hearing, so.
And you can talk into the microphone, providing
Because he want.
you don't mind keeping it near.
What about if we give him my
Otherwise, you
microphone?
can take this
Take
one.
this one,
David's
mate.
using.
I don't mind talking to the microphone. It's sure. Whatever. These. Yeah, you can hang on.
Okay.
It's off.
Yes.
Just need to close to it if you want to from it. I'll start.
All right, testing. Can you hear me all right down there?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, well, my name's Michael Coffey, and I'm so excited to be a member here because of all the nice friends I have in the room, which I'll mention later. I was born in Broken Hill, New South Wales, the middle of nowhere in 1950, which makes me 75. I was a paper boy in pubs at age 13, where the legal age was 14. I joined Australia Post in 1966, the year of decimal currency, at age 16. I was a telegram boy and a postman, and one of our jobs in those days was to polish the brass knobs, as you'll all remember in post offices back then, and fill the ink wells on the writing slopes. Remember the old long pens and the ink wells, and we got ink all over our fingers? Now, induction was interesting back in my day, so we're talking about 1966. My induction was to be stripped naked in the backyard of the post office, and the fire hose was put to work. And one of the other guys who got inducted, he was put on the Indian Pacific train in a mail bag, and the train took off from the station at Broken Hill with a hole in the bag so he could breathe, and then the train driver stopped about 100 metres down the road. He thought he was on the way to Perth. So induction procedures have changed in recent years. In 1966 I started. In 1968, some people thought I had some potential, so they sent me to Sydney to be a postal clerk in the metropolitan area. And in '69, I climbed through the ranks to postmaster, mail centre manager, and I worked part-time in the Bradbury Inn Hotel near Campbelltown. I was also a part-time TAFE teacher at Bankstown. So life was busy because it was too hard to pay the mortgage. Now, remember in the post office old days when service meant something? War service home loans, remember those? Yeah. Child endowment payments, tax stamps, promissory notes, banking passbooks. And remember the tin that the money box, the kids all collected in the money boxes. Now, when I was manager in charge one Sunday at the Redfern Mail Exchange, which was very unionised, like the waterfront here, then some idiot fired bullets through the window of the 5th floor. And the union being so strong, they came to me and said, if you don't find the guy that fired the bullets and have him arrested, there's going to be no mail delivered in Sydney or New South Wales on Monday. So fortunately for me, I had a lot of friends in the police force because working in pubs, you get to know all the police, and especially those on night shift when you give them a cleansing ale to keep the night shift not so stressful. So having been threatened with no mail delivered on Monday, which was a no-no, I rang my contacts in the police and I said, I don't care who you arrest, just arrest somebody out the front. So we're on the 5th floor, remember, looking down on the street. Just find anybody, throw them in the back of the wagon, take them around the corner and let them out. That way I'll get the mail delivered. So as user-friendly police were, they came to the street next to the Redfern Mail Centre. Some young kid going down to get milk and bread and paper for his parents, nabbed him, grabbed him, threw him in the wagon, took him round the corner and let him out, apologised. I reckon the kid's still in counselling. But the mail got through. When I was at the Bradbury Inn Hotel, the reason I knew all the police was because I used to be in charge of the Police Boys Club basketball team, cricket team and everything else. And so a lot of the police played with us in those teams. In 1989, so now I'm 29, I was promoted to the Melbourne City Mail Centre, and the industrial relations was really hot down here like it was in Sydney. This was also another waterfront. And I was in the Industrial Relations Commission every week for about 3 years. I then was promoted to National Manager in headquarters working for Graham John, who you'll remember from South Melbourne, and he took the Sydney Swans to Sydney, and I happened to be a Sydney Swan supporter as well. So I was then put in charge of letter operations, parcel operations, transport operations and express post. Again, that's when service mattered. I've got a postgraduate diploma from Monash University in business management. I've been married twice. My first wife passed, and my second wife, Anne, now lives happily at Springthorpe Retirement Village with me. I have 2 children, and one passed at age 50. She passed away. She had Friedreich's ataxia, which is a bit like MS. And I have 3 beautiful grandchildren, and my son Jason and his wife Cassie, with my 3 grandchildren, live nearby at Greensborough. My hobbies are horse racing, most sports. I've played many sports, occasional golf, and I love fine dining and good wines. I was the officer in charge of the polling booth at La Trobe University for the last federal election, and I'm also the VCE, Chief Supervisor at Loyola College for the exams. So my job is to catch the cheats and do all the admin. Now, I thought I'd tell you quickly about horse racing before travels. We used to travel the world horse racing when we had money. Been to Penang, Malaysia 4 times to the races as guests of the chairman. Been to the Hong Kong International races on a Sunday in December 10 times. Been to the Wednesday meeting jockey challenge. Now those 2 meetings in December are for the best horses in the world on the Sunday, and the best jockeys in the world have a challenge on the Wednesday. So we did 10 of those. And just to show you the value for money it used to be, they have a smorgasbord twice the length of this room for $100 a head, including your drinks. And the entree was lobster. Now, if you do that in the Spring Carnival at Flemington in Melbourne, that's $1,000 without drinks. Without drinks. We went to the French Oaks in Chantilly in France. We went to Royal Ascot twice. We saw Frankel race, and we saw Black Caviar's race. Remember, Frankel won by 10 lengths on the first day, and we went for 3 days, and we said to I'm going to say Poms graciously, to our English friends, you haven't seen nothing yet, wait till you see Black Caviar. And Black Caviar won by the hair of a bee's you know what. We've been twice to the Irish Derby in the Curragh at County Kildare, and stayed at Dublin and went to Belfast. So 2 Irish Derbies, 2 Royal Ascots, a Chantilly in France, 10 Hong Kongs, 4 Penangs. That's a keen race goer. Of course, we've been in Australia to the Melbourne Cup, Darwin Cup, Launceston Cup, Hobart Cup, Broken Hill Cup, etc. Now, travels. Anne and I, we've only been together for 20 odd years, so 2004 to now, is that 20? Yeah, 21 years. And we've done 30 overseas trips, but we've now let our passports expire because we've done enough and we've seen enough. So we've done New Zealand, Japan, USA, Canada, Vietnam, Hong Kong, China, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Bali, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, London and Paris. That's not bad, is it, for seeing some of the world? And places like Hong Kong we did 10 times, and America we did about 8 times. Love Las Vegas. Poker machines at the airport, that's disgusting. Now, where have I lived? I lived in Broken Hill when I was born, obviously. And then when I joined Australia Post, I moved to Sydney in 1968. In 75, we moved to Roos near Campbelltown to start the family. In 78, I transferred to Melbourne, lived at Templestowe. Then I lived at Port Melbourne, then Cremorne, which is Richmond, behind the Norlex silos. And now happily at the Springthorpe Retirement Village, which is the best move we've ever made. And it's thanks to people like, and I'll read you their names in a minute, but we have lots of dinners, we have happy hour every Thursday night, we play pool, we play croquet, we have lunches, we have sing-alongs, we have Christmas lights, we have wonderful supportive residents, we have lots of activities. I've been Owners Corporation Chairman at Port Melbourne and Cremorne in Richmond for 20 years. And I'm now on the committee, but I don't want to be chairman this time. I'm on the committee at Springthorpe. Now, why join Probus? Having 2 judges in key positions is most impressive. David Jones is a very welcoming and lovely person. As I said, I live in Springthorpe Retirement Village and I've been there for 18 months. I've attended a couple of Probus meetings and am friends with Gary Packworth, Frank and Margaret Henning, Keith Tupper, John Metcalf. So I thought I should come here and support them. Thanks, Gary, for driving. Well done on your Probus Award recently. I've been impressed with your guest speakers, so thanks for having me and making me feel welcome. And Diana Landsberg's presentation was most impressive. And congratulations to your IT man, he has the toughest job. Thank you.
Just get Yep.
Good job, good job.
Thanks, Michael. Terrific. And that was a very comprehensive analysis or discussion of your journey, which started in a place which I must say personally I find extremely interesting, namely Broken Hill. And we look forward to your involvement with our club, and we're sure you'll make a very considerable contribution to our club. Before we hear from Catherine and Maureen, Kev and Bev, I think, are ready to go with some songs.
Yes.
Can I have that, David, or what?
Yep.
Something.
Yeah, take that. Doesn't work.
Thanks, Gary.
Just stick that back up. And Ed Will's one.
My membership.
Bruce will put it on for you.
Go on, Bruce.
This one should do. I've got those wills, but this one should do.
The big ones on as well.
Haven't you got another bucket?
Thanks, Ray.
Okay, I thought we've been having this sort of function or event for many years, long before I got involved here, and it just made me realise we just should give pause just for a moment and think of the music man, the man who for many years provided the music for this occasion, Noel Griffith. Oops, that's come apart now. We probably don't, all right, we'll see how we go. Okay, books distributed. First one we're going to have a go with is number 3, Somewhere My Love. This is out of, this is Lara's theme from Chivago, one of the best 3 pictures that I've seen in my view. The other 2, by the way, would be Casablanca and Lawrence of Arabia. Just by the way. Okay, Bev, let's start. Just for lead in. Somewhere, my love, there will be songs to sing. Although the snow covers the whole of spring, somewhere
in green and gold. And there are dreams, all that your heart can hold. Someday we'll meet again, my love. Someday, whenever the spring breaks through, you come to me out of the long ago. Warm as the wind, soft as the kiss of snow. Till then, my sweet, think of me now and then. Godspeed, my love, till you are mine again.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's okay. Next one. Number 18. Number 18, Morningtown Ride. The Seekers. I played football once against one of the Seekers, Athol Guy. In the amateurs.
Train whistle blowing makes a sleepy noise underneath the blankets for all the girls and boys. Rock and rollin', riding out along the way, all bound for Morningtown, many miles away. Driver at the engine, fireman rings the bell, Sandman swings the lantern to show that all is well. Rock and rollin', riding out along the bay, all bound for Morningtown, many miles away. It is raining where our train will ride. All the little travellers are warm and snug inside. Rock and rollin', riding out along the bay, all bound for Morningtown, many miles away. Where there is sunshine, somewhere there is day, somewhere there is Morningtown, many miles away. Rock and rollin', riding out along the way, all bound for Morningtown, many miles away.
Okay, now we're going to come home with number 4. Number 4. Australia Day is not far off. I still call Australia home. Righto, Bev.
I've been to cities that never closed down, from New York to Rio and old London town. But no matter how far or how wide I roam, I still call Australia home. I'm always traveling, I love being free, and so I keep leaving the sun and the sea. But my heart lies waiting over the shore, I still call Australia home. All the sons and daughters spinning around the world, away from their family and friends. As the world gets older and older, it's good to know where your journey ends. And someday we'll all be together once
That's an introduction.
Okay,
Yep.
Maureen's going to speak first, and she's going to tell us something about the history of the Warringal Probus Club and how it operates, etc., etc. And we got a bit of an idea of that from our attendance there just before Christmas. And then after Maureen's spoken, Catherine, who's the current president, will say a few words. Okay, thanks, Maureen. Over to you.
Everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, up the corner there. Oh, my name is Maureen Stratt, and I've been in Warringal Club I worked out since 2002, so it's been a long while. During that time, I've been president, secretary, of different things. I've been on the committee. Unfortunately, when I joined the club, they had a waiting list, so I had to wait for 6 months to get in. And when I finally got in, I'm saying all the way there while I'm driving my non-driving friends, I am not going on the committee. I am not going on the committee. Everywhere I go, I'm on the committee. So I walked in the door. A lady called Yvonne Courtney was the welcoming person, and she said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Maureen." And she said, "Oh, you're the lady that's going on the committee." So, too bad about that Probus rule where you had to be in it for a year before you're allowed to be a committee member. And so the first meeting was at a lady called Marge Cowley's house. Some of you people know all these people. And we walked in and they all had their position set. And the only one left was secretary. And so I said, "Oh, all right, okay." Well, I didn't know what I let myself in for. 18 years of secretary, and a lot of experiences. Amalgamation of clubs and constitutions being the absolute worst parts. But apart from that, the club was formed in 1991, and some of you would remember Kel Glare, and Norma Marsh was in amongst it somewhere. The Rotary Club of Heidelberg is planning to hold an interest meeting for the purpose of forming additional Probus clubs for ladies and for men within the city of Heidelberg. So this came out from the Rotary people, and then there was enough interest in the area for the club to be formed. So at the start, as I said, it had a waiting list, there were 120, and then a waiting list after that. So a lot of people very interested. The inaugural meeting, bulletin number 1, copy of. The inaugural meeting was August 1991. The president was Betty Bowen. Some of you might remember Bowen's Wood in Watsonia. I think it was Brian Bowen, and Betty was his wife. So she was the first president. Norma Matthews, Beryl Tucker, Ailsa Moss, Pam Forsyth Grant, Ailsa Ryan, Kath Finlayson, Rita Palmer, Peg Cowley, Faye Taylor. Some of those names were there for a very, very, very long time after that. So that was the first meeting. The venue for that was down at St John's Anglican Church, where I was the secretary to the minister, trying to keep the vicars in control over from 1988 until 2002. Gave me grey hair, which I've cleverly desired, got back to my brown. But I saw all these people coming in, and I thought, who are all these people coming in? They filled up the car park, they marched down to the bottom hall, and I thought, who are all these people? And I said to my boss, he said, "Oh, they're Probus people." Well, that meant nothing. I'd never heard of Probus. So I went down and I collared someone and said, "Oh, this is for professional business people only, not blue-collar people, just white-collar people." And I said, "Oh, okay." But I was working at the time anyway, so I couldn't join. But then one day I was in my office and a speaker walked past and I thought, I know who that is, that's Weary Dunlop. I thought, well, what's he doing going to Probus? So I marched down there, being my dad's favourite person in the world, Weary Dunlop. I bought him the book for Christmas. I went down and said, "Would you be able to sign this card off St John's? And I'm going to put it in the front of my father's book." Well, a lovelier man you couldn't possibly have met. He's the most beautiful man. And so I was very interested in Probus from there on. But unfortunately, at a certain point in time, the powers that be in the church decided that the hall would be halved. Half would go to Bush Church Aid, and it was too small to fit 120 people in, so they had to shift. They shifted up to the corner of Borden Street there in the Presbyterian Church. So they started meeting up there, and that's where I joined. So Presbyterian Church, the parking was horrendous. You can just imagine trying to park 100 odd cars in that corner up there of Darebin Street and Borden Street. So Marge Cowley went down to the council, she threw her weight around, and she got the 2-hour limit put to 4 so that the people could park. So that went for quite a few years up there. Then they decided that we had to shift, and at that time, the old Shire Hall, which was down where the Mercy Hospital is now, that was a dirty old brown building. Do any of you remember that? Dirty old brown building. My girls went there to Brownies and Guides, and then they decided that they would have a competition. Where would this building go? Because we want to build the Mercy Hospital. So there was a competition. I don't know if any of you entered. I entered. I said, put it in the grounds of the state school, because the state school had been there a long time, and I thought that'd be, but anyway, it was voted to be down in the parkland behind where the Banyule High School was. So down it went there. They painted it lovely creamy colour with blue trim or green trim. Inside put blue. The people that came to the Christmas function see it's the most beautiful place, lovely and clean, good toilets, access for disabled people, terrific venue. And at that time we only paid $5 a time. And so we thought that was pretty good. But that's where we still are now. So from there on, I'm just going back over my notes here. Bits and pieces here and all that. We had a 20th birthday party. That was a magnificent function. The 25 years was a silver function. We had everything silver. Everyone wore anything silver that they had. We had silver flowers along in the trees and in the gardens. It was the most wonderful, wonderful function, the 25th. We've had lots of life memberships. I got into a big lot of trouble because I didn't realise, having not read my purple book from cover to cover, I didn't realise you could only have 3. And at the 25th birthday, we inducted a 4th. And the person that was there as our guest from Rotary, he took me apart. He took me outside and he dressed me down thoroughly and said, "You're not allowed to have 4, you're only allowed to have 3, and I got into big trouble. So that's all gone by the board now, fortunately. We've got 4 life members at the moment. At the moment we have Bev Purcell. She came from Heidelberg. We've absorbed Heidelberg ladies there. There's Vicky Emerson, who's been in the club for a long time. I guess some of you people know Vicky. Gloria Delarue was a life member. She's passed away. Apart from that, I can't remember the other 2. They're here somewhere. Here they are. We've absorbed Nance Tonkin and myself. So that's the 4 life members at the moment. When Probus was looking to have the 30th birthday, it's unfortunate it was in the COVID times, so we couldn't have our 30th birthday party. So we waited and waited until COVID was over. We had a very, very nice, very, very late 30th birthday party. Since the 30th birthday, we've gained members from Heidelberg Ladies when we amalgamated. We've also gained members from Rosanna Ladies when that club had to vacate their meeting place, I believe. At the moment we have 51 members. Most meetings we have about 34, 36, something like that. And those of you who came to our Christmas morning would appreciate the venue. As I said, it's very clean, not good cooling for those stinking hot days like last week, and reasonable. It's freezing cold when we arrive in the winter, but it warms up pretty quickly. So that's about my story. I realise that out there are some very learned people, and you've had some very learned speakers. And I went to speak at the St Paul's Cathedral, about this, because I'm the historian down at St John's Anglican, the oldest church in Victoria, still standing on its original foundations, except for the two in the city, St Peter's, Eastern Hill, and the Catholic Church at the back of Myers. So I went in to speak. I thought I'll go the month before and I'll find out, you know, where do you go, who's there? And I went, and there was a man speaking, a very learned man. His name was Dr. Colin Holden. And he was speaking on the rhetoric in the letters between Bishop Charles Perry and Governor Latrobe. So guess how many people went to sleep in that meeting? Everybody except my husband and me, who was facing the speaker, and we had to stay awake and look very interested. At the end, they introduced me as the next speaker in the cathedral, and I said, I will not be able to produce such a learned talk as just happened with Dr. Colin Holden. And I call this man the Black Rod, but he's not the Black Rod because that's Parliament, but he's the man who carries the rod with the crown on top and escorts people around. He said, Maureen, you can stand on your head and speak and we'll all pay attention. So thank you very much.
All right. Just anyone got any questions that they'd like to ask Maureen about Warringal? Okay.
Catherine.
Come on, Catherine. She's ready.
Mike, she's got a big book.
Yeah, we're going to be here for a while.
This is President number 7.
Oh, am I? Oh my goodness.
Oh, sorry.
Didn't know that. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Catherine Haynes. I have been the president of Heidelberg Warringal Probus Club for the past 3 years. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you today. I will talk firstly about my time so far with our club and what we have achieved during my term as president. Then I will give a brief bit about my working life, what motivates me to achieve goals in my life. My first visit to Probus was in November 2021. Just thought I would pop in and see what it was all about. I was greeted by a lady called Vicky, who I have since found out is a life member and will be 100 this year. You would never pick her for this impressive age, as she is very lively and interesting to talk with on many subjects. Didn't think this was going to be a club for me, but was made very welcome and even asked to join them for lunch after my first meeting, joined 3 months later. I became president in March 2023, not knowing anything about Probus, but determined to put my best foot forward. It was very confusing at first, but after a lengthy Zoom meeting for presidents and Probus coordinator to refer to for assistance when required, all was good. The first year was a challenge as I discovered there had been many changes since COVID that our club needed to implement. Armed with the Probus handbook and a new secretary in 2024, we have put procedures in place, and I'm very happy to say our club runs very smoothly. My secretary Vanessa and I work well as a team with a hard-working committee, each who have their own role to organise and run. At first, we had monthly committee meetings, monthly club meetings, a speaker at each of these meetings, and a monthly Friday lunch. Some members went on group link tours, also did some theatre trips to the city and a Christmas lunch at the end of November. Since then, we have managed to introduce some new activities to the members with plans for more in 2026. Some of these new activities: movie outing to Northland, the 3rd Wednesday monthly for anyone that just wants to come. theatre trips to the city, which are now 3 or 4 times yearly, Christmas lunch with Heidelberg Men's and Rosanna Ladies Club in 2024, Christmas lunch with Heidelberg Probus Club 2025, both were held at Bolera Receptions in Eltham. Movie afternoons at the hall during daylight savings after committee meetings in 2024, Christmas morning tea December 2024 and 2025, which thank you all for coming and joining us in the last one. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. You all, hopefully everyone was made welcome. We've introduced Link Community Service outings. We have 15 members registered with them and have been enjoying their trips. We have our website up and running, but still a work in progress. We are now working on a Facebook page for 2026. After I discovered that the new Ivanhoe Club now have 80 members that was only formed last year. They've had to get permission to go to 100 members and permission to have a waiting list of 20, which they now have. Vanessa and I went to 2 of their meetings, and they've got these very recent, newer retirees through Facebook. With the help, of course, of Probus, but don't give the existing clubs any help. We're still fighting with them over that. They just don't reply to our emails. So we're trying to get a Facebook up and running because I think we'll attract newer people that are finishing work to come to Probus, because a lot of people don't know about Probus and we need to educate. So we're in the process of trying to get that done. Big plan this year will be our 35th anniversary lunch for celebration, and we will be applying for a grant to fund some of that. Christmas morning tea in December meeting, which we will incorporate in December with Vicky's 100th birthday celebration. Hopefully we can make that quite a big deal. We aim to attract more members in 2026 through the website and also with flyers in local places and word of mouth. We have been very fortunate with interesting speakers in 2025. February we had John Howell, the only woman, and he has written a book, The Only Woman at Gallipoli, which we found very interesting. We don't have a speaker in March because we have the AGM. April we had the travel adventures of a mature gent. March we had Catherine Ashton. She gave us a critical talk on health. June we had the Northeast Link, and we titled that Rumble Under Our Meeting. July we had Link Community Services came in and outlined their outings programs. August, the adventures of an old man in Borneo. September we had Janine Parslow. She spoke about her life as a remote nurse, which was really eye-opening. In October we had Megan Moody, and she spoke about women in sport. Megan has just been, she is the manager for Pathways for basketball in Geelong, for the Geelong Basketball Association, and she was named as Coach of the Year for Victoria. November we had Shannon Nelson, who came in and spoke about the Stroke Foundation. We were a little bit concerned about having that one, but this lady was 45 years old and had apparently had a stroke, so she was of interest. She all these signs and preventions and so on. So it was, I believe, very interesting. I was away. And then December, we had our Christmas morning tea, which we invited you all along. I have been to visit other Probus clubs to observe how they do things differently and to get new ideas to take back to our club. Meeting other Probus members on group link tours has been a valuable way of making contacts with other clubs and being able to join their meetings and activities. Our meetings are the third Monday of the month, at the Old Shire Hall, Beverley Road, Heidelberg, and for those that want lunch after at the Old England. Parking at the hall is plentiful with easy access to the hall. We welcome all visitors to our club with or without the view to join. In 2025, we were very lucky to welcome 14 new members and hope 2026 brings more. New year, new members. Now, I'll just tell you a bit about myself at David's request, horror. I was married for 22 years. I have 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. I was very fortunate to have wonderful parents, a sister and a brother, twins. I'm the big sister. We have always been a close family. My father taught us from an early age honesty, pride in what we did, reliability, and a good work ethic. So being a single mother with no support from the children's father, I had huge support from my parents and siblings. Most of my working life, I did a day job followed by some hours at night. I worked a range of different jobs. I started out when I was first married as a waitress. Some of you may remember the dinners that they used to have at the exhibition buildings. They had conferences and dinners. I very quickly found out this was not something for me. The first one there didn't follow the rules, decided I'd walk across the middle of the room instead of going around with this platter of duck with orange sauce on. It fell on the floor, the duck went up in the air and it all came down on me. Hadn't looked around the room. It was a convention for 200 to 300 Chinese gentlemen who all stood up and cheered. I've never been, I think if there was a hole in the floor I would have crawled in it. I have never been so embarrassed in my life. It was mortifying. After that, I then joined the ANZ Bank. I worked in Proof Centre, which is back in those days, is all when you used to go into the bank and deposit something, to have a deposit slip, a cheque. That all came back to the proof centres from every branch in Victoria. We stayed there all night till it was all sent through the proof centre. I then moved to Boronia branch, Bayswater branch, Studfield branch, Mount Waverley, and finally Springvale branch. During those 10 years, I experienced a number of bank robberies. So finally I decided I'd get out of that. Then I worked for Monash Council. I did home care for Monash Council, going to people's home and assist. Some of you may have that now, cleaning, shopping, whatever. During that time, I trained at Holmes Glen TAFE to achieve personal care certificate, and then followed on and trained to do my Div 2 nursing certificate to dispense medications. I worked in aged care facilities until Ageing in Place came in. I did that for 10 years. I just found Ageing in Place, you worked with a lot of people that weren't trained properly, so it was an accident waiting to happen, and it became very emotional. So I decided to get out of that. Then I went on and worked in retail. I worked for a company called David Lawrence for 13 years. I worked, we had a space in Myers in Southland. I went out to the outlet at Nunawading, David Jones in Doncaster, and then finally the outlet at Nunawading. Went on leave and was retrenched. So that was a bit of shock. David Lawrence went into receivership 4 weeks later. I was very lucky as all my entitlements were paid before this happened. So I walked away with about 1.5 years wages and things that were owed to me, because they of course couldn't find my contract, but I had quite a strong contract, so that worked in my favour. Then sort of sat and thought, what on earth, how am I going to find a job at this age? But then something else fell into line, another retail job, so I started working for Taking Shape. So I worked with them for 4 years. I was at Myers at Doncaster, only part-time, but got known around the traps that any shifts that they couldn't fill, I would go and do it. So I got a lot of work. So I managed quite well. During most of this time, I coached netball from juniors to seniors. both at club and representation levels, achieving all coaching accreditations, the highest being level 3. I actually did my level 3 with some of the Australian team players that had retired and had taken on coaching. I coached state league teams and some players that went on to be Victorian players and national players. I am a life member of 2 clubs at Mountain District Netball Association, which is the biggest association in Victoria, and a life member of the association as well, for my services as the treasurer for the association for 10 years plus, and a committee person. As you can probably see, I am driven by a challenge, be it professional or personal. I like to get things done better today than leaving it tomorrow, and can drive those around me nuts. However, since moving into a retirement village nearly 3 years ago, I have become more settled and content in my life. I travel, read, do things for me, and relax more, which my children encourage me all the time, always telling me, "It's your time now, Mum." That's a brief bit about me, thanks. As Bugs Bunny says, that's it, folks. Oh, sorry, I've got a...
It's all right.
Oh, all right.
Questions. Anyone
Got a
like
question.
some questions for Catherine? A very interesting story she's told us.
Thank you.
Catherine, I've got a question. Why didn't you come to Springthorpe?
Because she likes Latrobe.
This is the
At the time, I actually I looked after my parents for a long time as well, because I was the only single sibling. So I looked after my parents for a long time, and when I moved over into this area, of course, one of them got sick, then the other one got sick, so I spent more time living at home with them and still working full time. So then they went into care, so I was still running backwards and forwards. Mum passed away 6 years ago, Dad passed away 3 years. I still struggle badly with my father passing. I'd moved over this way to be near my children. Where I had moved, I got to a stage, I never thought I'd be a person that would get depressed. I couldn't walk out of where I was living. I couldn't even take my rubbish out to the rubbish bin. And I thought, this isn't good, I've got to get out of here. So I started looking for retirement villages, and the first one I went to was Latrobe. And I wasn't sure, went up there, and I had been on a second level with about a 5-foot balcony, looking at a brick wall. So I went there, and it's very open. You could put 2-laned cars all through Latrobe, and they're all sort of individuals, and it's like a spider, and there's 8 offshoots. So I'm at the very back, and I'm right at the very end, and I look out onto Darebin Creek on the trail. And that's what I needed. I needed space. I needed to be able to go and sit outside, look out, and feel like had some freedom. I'm so content, you've got no idea. I don't mix with a lot of the things there. We have dinners every Friday night. I probably try to go once, maybe twice a month. But there's a lot, I don't want to do bingo. There's a lot of things I still don't do. I still bowl. I haven't for a couple of seasons with I'm at Di's Bowls Club too. And Probus been involved, but there's enough things, and that's why I went there. And at the time at Springthorpe, they didn't have any vacancies. So that was the reason. And I do like Springthorpe. I've been there a number of times, and the outlook there is beautiful. But, each to our own. But I'm very, very, very happy there. Even though children didn't think I should be doing it. But, I'm independent. I don't want to be relying on them for helping me. I can do everything for myself.
Good on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kat.